Your future is going to be what you make of it. Because you're not going to be able to rely on people to do things for you. That's not the way life is. If you want to be great at something, you're going to have to put all your commitment and effort and discipline into doing just that. Things aren't handed to you as you get older. In fact, the things that I learned over the course of my life was the things that I actually worked for the most, that's what I valued the most. Where I put all my hard work and effort and dedication and discipline into, those were the things that really paid off. And when I faced really challenging times and really challenging obstacles, that's when I had to figure out deep down about myself what I was all about. And I realized that I can be more and make more of my own career than what a lot of people thought. And I'm still trying to do that today. I want you guys to achieve all that you set out to. It's going to take a lot of work. There's going to be a lot of obstacles. There's going to be a lot of challenges. But you guys are going to be the ones responsible for what you achieve.
If you're going through some things where you feel broken dreams or a broken heart, don't get bitter. Don't give up on your dreams. Stay in faith. It's a sign that God is about to multiply. The loss, the disappointment, the person that didn't keep their word, they thought that they were setting you back, but little do they know that you're going to stay in faith. You're not going to give up. And what they thought was a setback was actually setting you up to increase.
I know the conditions are not everything that you want them to be. I know all the circumstances are not the way you would like for them to be. I know that there are impending dangers that threaten your progress. I know that you don't have the insurance of an outcome. And when you don't have insurance, it is difficult to have assurance. All you have is God's command in your life that God said, keep it moving.
We all face things in life that try to push us down. It's easy to lose our passion and think that's the way it's always going to be. When you get knocked down, you don't stay down. There's a force breathing in your direction, making things happen that you couldn't make happen, giving you strength that you didn't have. It causes you to rise up. Because you have bounced back, that difficulty cannot defeat you. It may hold you back temporarily, but it's just a matter of time before you rise back up.
You have bounce back power. Bounce back from that financial setback. Bounce back from that divorce. Bounce back from that lie, the gossip, the haters. Bounce back. I want to encourage you tonight. There are things that only come out of you when you go through a struggle. So let's just rejoice that people hate. Let's rejoice that the enemy tried his best. In other words, when you go through something hard, God's gonna make sure that that works something good out in your life. It pulls something out of you. It shapes you into something special. It prepares you for something that's ahead of you.
I made it all the way. I started preaching when I was 19, and they said I wouldn't last 2 weeks. And I made it all the way to 62. I'm chasing you. I ain't got there yet, but I'm on your heels, buddy. I'm coming after you. Because you can't go ahead if you don't keep it moving. So I kept it moving when I was broke. And I kept it moving when I had some money. And I kept it moving when things were going right. And I kept it moving when things were going bad. And I kept it moving when I had the faith. And I kept it moving when I was scared out of my mind. To all of it, I know you're scared, but keep it moving. Keep it moving. What I got planned will only work if you.
Until you follow your dream and connect it to your gift, you'll never be happy. You got to chase that dream before you die, man. Just go see. God puts your real life in your imagination. That's where your real life ain't in your present circumstance. Your real life is not in your current situation. Your real life is not in your paycheck. Your real life, He tucks it away in your imagination. Listen to me. This is serious what I'm telling you. Don't you think it's nothing else. Imagination is everything. It's the preview to life's coming attractions.
Developing an awareness of yourself beyond your mental conditioning beyond your circumstances, adverse circumstances, beyond where you are right now, expanding your vision of yourself, going within. At this part of the year, you know what I say? Look behind and thank God. What do you mean? Thank that I'm still here, that I woke up with a pulse this morning. There's so many opportunities, so many blessings, so many things that I could do and participate in and expand my level of awareness.
You may have things coming against you now. Thoughts tell you you'll never get well. This pandemic has ruined your finances. You'll always struggle with this addiction. Don't believe those lies. You may be down, but that is not your final destination. Get ready for favor. Get ready for breakthroughs. Get ready for healing. If you're going to come out of that challenge, you have to do like Micah. This problem didn't come to stay, it came to pass. God being for me is more than the world being against me. I shall arise. No more, it's never going to change. My business will never make it. My child's never going to get back on course. Zip that up. If you talk defeat, you're going to have defeat. That person that walked out on you, they didn't stop your destiny. Quit giving them that much power, thinking that they ruined your life. God has somebody better coming.
I know that there are many of us that are facing struggles. We're in a hard season right now. And when we face hardships and when we face struggles and setbacks or closed doors, it's easy to give up. It's easy to want to cash in the dream and walk away from it. But I'm here to encourage you tonight that it isn't the end. Just because it's hard doesn't mean it's the end of something. Think of a seed. For it to become everything it's designed to be. For what's on the inside of that to fully come out and blossom, it must come off the comfortable shelf and it must be placed into a dark place, a hard place for it to germinate and for it to become everything it's created to be. See, just like a seed, there are things in your life, there's dreams and there is potential on the inside of you that God has put in you that can only fully come out. Your potential can only be fully realized through a hard season. By going through some struggle, by experiencing a closed door, by going through a season where you don't feel God, or going through some heartbreak, going through some trials. These seasons actually pull out the best in us.
We need to sometimes to be reminded of what we don't know right now, because sometimes life can knock you senseless. That's why we are taught, judge not according to appearances. It might look like it's over. No, it's not. No, you were born to win. You were born to win. You are winning. You got here winning. I want you to tap into your courage, because in the newness of life, and your life would be a new life, if you're not happy, if you're not new, if you haven't changed, if you have not made a commitment to embrace a higher standard on how you show up and your choices that you make and the life that you're living and the relationships that you're surrounded by, this is a time you have to be vigilant, but this is the time you have to rethink. Hey, this is radically different. And so I've got to be radically different to accommodate, to take into account of what's happening and what's going on. Millions of jobs being lost. So that means there's a small number of jobs out there because the economy has changed and businesses are going under. That's why I'm sending out this choosing your future. You want to choose your future. You want to listen to things that feed you, feed your faith and allow your doubts to starve to death. Feed your creativity, free and feed your initiative and build your courage so you can make some tough decisions, because right now you've got to make some tough decisions.
A person who has purpose in their life, they have something to go for, some meaning. For some people, it becomes a magnificent obsession. And for you and I, maybe it doesn't need to be that dramatic as a magnificent obsession. But it has to be something that does something to us, something that pulls us, especially into the future. You know, there are many influences on us. One is the influence of the past. Some people are always pulled back by the past. Some people are always pulled aside by the distractions. But here's what's powerful. If you have a list of high purpose in your life, it pulls you toward the future. And the more powerful the purpose is, the stronger it pulls. If you don't have these strong purposes for the future, it's easy to get swallowed by a bad day. It's easy to be almost annihilated by a poor month. And it's easy sometimes to almost disappear beneath the waves of a year that goes backwards if you don't have something to pull you beyond that year. So if you want something to pull you through all kinds of challenges, all kinds of difficulties, and things that come at you, you got to have something on out there, beyond today, beyond next week, beyond next month, beyond this year. And the clearer it is, the stronger it pulls. It also creates imagination. It gets your mind working on how to achieve that purpose. And if your mind will work, and if your heart works, and if your spirit works, and if you have good input, like good ideas, I'm telling you, there isn't anything you can't accomplish.
So everything that you do is habit forming. And that includes hitting the snooze button. That includes sitting on the couch. That includes eating donuts. It's all habit forming. You know what else is habit forming? Discipline. Setting the alarm and getting up. Going and working out. That stuff is all habit forming too. I recommend you form some disciplined habits. How much longer are you gonna wait? How much longer? You gonna wait another 30 seconds? You gonna wait another minute? Gonna wait another hour? Maybe we'll start in a couple hours. You know what? How about I just wait till tomorrow? You're gonna wait till tomorrow? You're gonna wait another week? You're gonna wait another month? How much longer are you gonna wait? I say no more waiting.
Nothing you face can keep you from your purpose. No pandemic, no sickness, no addiction. The enemy may have done his best, but his best will never be enough.
You got to put your foot down. This is the place where we are. You got to put your foot down to yourself and say to yourself, I'm better than this. I'm better than the behavior that I've been choosing and how I've been representing myself. I'm better than this relationship that I'm in where I'm dying together rather than living together. I'm better than the circumstances where I am. I've lost my job. I've lost my business, and I'm better than the adversities that are looking me in the face that are about to get smacked down. It's not going to stop me. Are you kidding me? No, I'm better than this. Whatever life throws at me, you call it Murphy's Law or whatever you want to call it. Get that foolishness out of my face. I'm better than what's going on here.
You may be bent over right now. You're facing challenges. Thoughts are telling you it's never going to work out. No, get ready to rise. You have bounce back in your spirit. When that storm is over, you're not going to be laying down, beat up. You're going to rise up healthy, blessed, prosperous. You're not going to look like what you've been through. Nobody is going to be able to tell that you even had that difficulty. When you come out of that storm, when you straighten back up, you're not going to be the same. You're going to be stronger, healthier, better off, ready for new growth. When you're in difficult times, you need to remind yourself, I may bend, but I'm not going to break. Defeat is not how your story ends. Sickness, trouble, not having enough is not permanent.
Where does self-confidence come from? Self-confidence really comes from feeling good about yourself. And this is the best advice I can give you on that. Not neglecting, first of all, the small daily discipline. And one of the best ways to feel good about yourself is at the end of the day to know that you poured it on. You did your best. At the end of those kind of days, when you feel good about yourself, self-confidence starts to rise. You know that if you can have this kind of a good day, you can have another one the next day, and those days become the weeks become the months, and the month becomes a powerful year. Self-confidence comes from the lack of neglect. If you will not neglect to do the small daily disciplines, That's where self-confidence comes from. That self-confidence affects your health, it affects your future, it affects your psyche. So this is true. One of the great powers is self-confidence. Why not see how far up this economic ladder you can possibly go to see if you can't live an extraordinary life? Not just an ordinary life, that's okay. Survival, that's okay. But if you could think larger than that, so that you really go to work on seeing who you could become in terms of influence, in terms of productivity, in terms of living the little phrase I give you called an extraordinary life. Ordinary would be okay. Extraordinary would be the best.
You may feel like you're in a pit. That's okay. The pit is leading you to the palace. You had a setback. That's okay. It's setting you up for greater influence, greater authority, greater honor. Don't sit around sour. Get ready for the greater things that God is about to do. Keep believing. Keep dreaming. Your time is coming. The pit is only temporary. The depression, the sickness, the lack is not how your story ends. You are closer than you think. It's going to happen sooner than it looks. God is going to surprise you.
Some people say, well, I'll do it for a little while and see what happens. You know, I'll try a couple of things. If that doesn't work, I'm out of here. And all of us know that that kind of person doesn't have much of a future. But if you're willing to do whatever it takes, if I have to learn a couple of things, I will learn those things. If I got to learn 5 or 6 things, I'll learn all 6. If I have to take an extra class, I'll take an extra class. If I've got to read the books, I'll read the books. If I have to consult with people who know more than I know, I will do the necessary consulting. Whatever it takes, I will do. That starts to develop unbelievable self-confidence. To rise above what happens, the petty little things, the discouraging things that would sink everyone else's ship except yours, that would cause someone else to quit early in the day, but you keep going. That kind of willingness to overcome all circumstances, whether it's the little challenges or the big challenges. If you're willing to do that, I promise you, this kind of power will work for you, and in you, the variable, it'll make a difference.
I'm going to teach you a lesson about confidence. When you have confidence, when you say your name, you look someone in their face. It doesn't matter what they think of me, I know what I think of myself. I am, repeat after me, I am great. I am amazing. I am significant. I am smart. I am special. I could stand up with all the confidence in the world. No one can stop me but me. And me standing in my way is not an option. No one in the world can stop my greatness. No one in the world can shake my confidence. It doesn't matter what you say about me. It's about the way I feel about myself.
Who operate in darkness, they are relentless. They never stop. And we have to make it our full-time job to fight back. You got to put your foot down. You got to get an attitude. You got to get fired up.
You got to get up, look at the man in the mirror and go.
Disturbed because no one else can see it. That's not unusual. You've got to learn how to tune out the critics outside and the critic inside.
You need to change on how you look at those people. Life hijacked your brain. Don't allow all these things to make you a lesser person. You must own your mind. Don't let life own yours.
Everybody has a defining moment. Whatever your defining moment is, own it and say to yourself, after today, I will do whatever it takes to become everything I can become.
Raise the bar on yourself. Challenge yourself. Expect things to be great for you because you're going to show up differently. Fight like a warrior and die a legend.
I don't care who you are. Life's gonna punch you in the face.
In time of adversity, you don't have an obstacle to deal with. You have a choice to.
You can suffer or you can choose to do whatever you need to do to liberate yourself, whatever you need to do to reinvent yourself, whatever you need to do to overcome whatever you are stuck in right now.
there are two fundamental attitudes toward life and its sorrows. Those with the first attitude blame the world. Those with the second ask what they could do differently. It's much easier and much more gratifying to your basest desires to blame someone else for your misery.
It's not about doing the occasional big things. It's about doing the consistent, small things.
If you go to the gym and you work out and you come back and you look in the mirror, you will see nothing. And if you go to the gym the next day and you come back and you look in the mirror, you will see nothing. So clearly there's no results, can't be measured, it must not be effective. So we quit. Or if you fundamentally believe that this is the right course of action, stick with it. You commit yourself to the regime, the exercise. If you stick with it consistently, I'm not exactly sure what day, but I know you'll start getting into shape. There's no event. It's an accumulation of lots and lots of little things that anyone by themselves is innocuous and useless. But if you do it consistently, and you do it in combination with lots of other little things, it's those little innocuous things that you do over and over and over and over that matter the most.
When you're consistently good, when you are consistently true to your word and to your values, when what you say and what you do consistently measures up, and that there's a sense of cohesion in your thoughts and your words and your actions and your questions, when all of it comes together in a consistent way, then all of a sudden the people say, I buy into that person.
What I did yesterday got me to where I am today. But what I did yesterday is not going to help me to stay where I am today. Do you understand me? You don't get out of life what you want. You get what you earn.
Here, this is an everyday gig. Every day is a Monday. Every day is a beginning, a new day, a new shot at life. An opportunity to come out of the gate like a man possessed and attack the day without mercy.
Every one of you in 5 years from now is going to arrive somewhere. Here's the thing. So many people, we just throw our lives up in the air and rely on chance and just hope it all works out. You don't have to throw your life up to chance. Your life can be a choice, and you can choose where you want to go the next 5 years and beyond.
You are powerful, and you are impactful, and you are in control.
Today, I'm putting the pressure on. I'm the aggressor. I'm on the attack. And I will not stop.
They said I couldn't. They said I wouldn't. They said they didn't believe in me. They said I couldn't because of my circumstances. I couldn't because of my past. Because it hadn't been done before. I said, so what? You can complain and remain the same, or you can decide, commit, and work towards becoming someone that no one thought you could be.
You have to deal with the reality of the situation. Dwelling and pondering and crying doesn't do shit, and it especially doesn't do shit in this echo chamber. In this arena, there is no crying. You can cry, you're just gonna lose. And I have bad news about complaining and crying. Nobody gives a shit.
I may not like it, but I'm not a whiner. I'm a warrior. I know I can handle this. You have that attitude, you'll come out stronger, increased, promoted, better than you were before. We've all heard the saying, no pain, no gain. If everything was always easy, we wouldn't be prepared for our destiny.
You don't like where you are? Change something. You don't like your body? Change something. You don't like your job? Change it. Do something about it. Complaining about your situation is not going to change your situation. No one is coming to save you.
Negative is normal. It's not successful, but it's normal. It's part of life. You must learn to handle the negative. Don't ignore it. Handle it. You don't have to live in it. You don't have to dwell on it. But you do have to handle it, my opinion.
And I'm saying to you, what if all of us took that attitude after we face a rejection and a no, or we have a meeting and no one shows up, or somebody say, you can count on me, and they don't come through? What if we have that kind of attitude? The car's repossessed. Nobody believes in you. You've lost again and again and again. The lights are cut off, but you're still looking at your dream, reviewing it every day and say to yourself, it's not over until I win.
The poor pessimist leads an ugly life. Pessimism, the deadly disease of always looking on the bad side, the problem side, the difficult side, checking all the reasons why it can't be done. He doesn't try to figure out what's right. He tries to figure out what's wrong. He doesn't look for virtue. He looks for faults. And when he finds them, he's delighted. How ugly. This is the poor guy who looks through the window, doesn't see the sunset. He sees the specks on the window. And this is the poor guy, right, who rushes up, takes such leave of his senses. This guy rushes up and he says, I've got 5 good reasons why it won't work. He's so dumb he doesn't know all he needs 1. He's got 5. To the pessimist, the glass is always half empty. To the optimist, the glass is half full. Why would the same measure affect people 2 different ways? Answer, it all depends on how you look at it. Our lives are mostly affected by the way we think things are, not the way they are. The way we think they are affects us most. There's a subject we don't have time to get into tonight called better thinking habits. One of the major things Shoaff taught me when I met him, he said, poor thinking habits keeps most people poor. Not poor working habits. Most people work hard, but they don't think hard. And Shoaff taught me that the mind is like a factory, a mental factory. And whatever you think about all day long pours ingredients into this mental factory. And that's what builds the economic, social, financial fabric of your life. He quoted me a Bible phrase that says, as you think, so you become. How awesome. When he talked about poor thinking habits, he had me. I used to start the day reading the morning newspaper. I mean, you can believe that or not. I'd get a cup of coffee and read the paper. I'd load up on wars and riots and murders and stabbings and killings and bank robberies and muggings and car wrecks and tragedies. I'd even read the back pages. I seem to like that stuff for some weird reason. I'd load up on all that, and then I'd start the day. You can imagine the kind of days I used to have. You walk around on your financial needs. They call you economic peewee. The guy says, I want to be a great leader. Wonderful. The first thing we do is follow him to his house. When we get there, we walk in and check his library, number 1. Somebody says, well, why check his library? The reason is because what a man reads pours massive ingredients into his mental factory, and the fabric of his life is built from those ingredients. You would not believe what some people have got in their house to read. You would not believe. One of the best dressed up words I know for a lot of it is trash. Can you imagine dumping a barrel of trash into this mental factory every day and coming out with a rich, dynamic, positive life? It can't be done.
Life ain't luck, man. Life is, this is what life is. Life is hard work, life is faith, and life is grace. If you understand that you got to work hard, faith without works is dead. You just keep the faith and work really hard and then ask God for as much grace as he can give you. Grace is God's unmerited favor. He gives you stuff you don't deserve. That's what you want out of life. You want God to do something for you that you just don't deserve it. That's what it is. Somebody was playing golf with a guy that owns Mayo Clinic one time. He told me, he said, justice is when you get what you deserve. Mercy is when you don't get what you deserve. Grace is when you get what you don't deserve. And you hear old people say, all I want is a little more grace. I just want some grace. I want God to give me a house that I don't really deserve. I want him to give me a lifestyle I don't really deserve. See, that's the problem with people. They think they deserve something. No, you don't. I work really hard. Everybody work hard. You just need some grace, man. You need God to just give you something that ain't on the vision board. Just need God to give you something that you didn't even ask for. That's when life gets real special for you. All I want is a little more grace. Like I got a vision board, right? but I ask God that his will be done in my life. Because what I can want, it can never compare to what God can give. You see what I'm saying? So you can want all you want, but if you line up with the will of God, what God has planned for you is way better than anything you could ever plan. You can't outthink him. That's how you get the life of your dreams, man. You set your goals and your aspirations, but then you leave the open end to your thy will be done on earth as it is. It's the Lord's Prayer. Man, it's not, you know, when your mama teaches it to you as a little kid, it's like really the dopest prayer, man. Give us this day our daily bread. Don't ask for nothing else. Quit worrying about tomorrow. Just help me make decisions for today that let me live the best day. When you worry about tomorrow, you're off into something you have no say-so in. You have no control. So why would you worry? By worrying does not add a single hour to a day. Not 1 hour. So what you got to ask God for is your daily bread, just for today. You'd be amazed what would happen to you if you quit tripping about tomorrow. Just today. Today is plenty. Today is so adequate. That's why he gives us 24 hours and he breaks it up into day and night. You know why? Because he knows 24 is too much. So he lets you stay up during the daytime, that you go to bed at night so you can recover. You think I'm lying? Stay up 24 hours, see what happens. Just stay up 24 hours and see what happens. You ain't gonna believe it's too much. That's a real, you know, people they write books about success. And people kill me when they write about success, but they don't tell people about God. If you're trying to be successful without God, you ain't gonna make it. You can try, but you're not gonna make it. You might make it a little way, but you can't stay there. It's not sustainable. You have to have faith, man. And I was talking the other day, and a lady, not this year, but a lady in the crowd said, I don't believe in God. Okay, well, I didn't know you was coming, so I'm just talking to the other people in here who get it. You know, if you're an atheist, I don't care. That don't bother me. So I told me, well, as a Christian, it's your job to convert. I'm not into conversion business. I ain't that good Christian. You don't believe in God? Go to hell. Ain't got no problem with that. You want to go to hell? That's you. Go. Knock yourself out. There's plenty of room. But I got news for you. Hell gonna be packed. That lady just shaking her head. I can't believe he's saying this. Yeah, it's humor. That's how I work. I work off that. You know, I'm not that Christian. I'm not in the conversion business. I'm not in the saved soul business. I tell jokes. If you want to go to hell, I'm perfectly comfortable with it. Just don't drag me with you. You want to go to hell? I was interviewing this guy. He said, well, Steve, you're a Christian. Suppose there's no heaven. Well, then I lived the best life I could and there's no heaven. You got a bigger problem. Suppose it is. And you don't go. I don't believe God will bring us up. No. I'm not going to know about all that. Why take a chance? Heaven, streets of gold, springs, flying rivers. You know the real reason I want to go to heaven? Because I want to see my mama. That's all.
With cement. The kids back in Danbury, Connecticut, high school, they're asking me questions one day. I'm talking to the kids. Kids got good questions these days. One of them said to me, Mr. Rohn, how do you build the good life? I said, it's simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. Here's how you build anything. Select the right ingredients, keep out the wrong ingredients, and it starts with thought. Everything starts with thought. So you must be wise and careful what you think about, because that starts everything. You got to be wise and careful. I asked the kids, what would happen if somebody dropped sugar in my coffee? They said, well, you'd be okay. I said, what if somebody dropped strychnine in my coffee? They said, well, you'd be dead. I said, correct. Lesson 1. Life is both sugar and strychnine. You gotta be careful. I said, what if my worst enemy drops in the sugar? They said, will you be okay? I said, what if my best friend, even by accident, drops in the strychnine? They said, well, you'd be dead. I said, correct. Lesson 2, watch your call. You got to be careful. See, it doesn't matter who hands you the bad stuff. It doesn't matter where you get the bad stuff. It'll still do its damage on your bank account, wherever you get it. Mr. Shelf gave me one of the greatest phrases when I first met him when he said, Jim, every day stand guard at the door of your mind.
You need an ideal because you have nothing to aim at, but an ideal is a judge, and you always fall short of the ideal. So how the hell can you have the benefits of having an ideal without having the crushing blow that goes along with having the judge that always regards you as insufficient? So I was trying to work that out in the chapter, and this is something I've had to work out a lot as a clinical psychologist. Like, well, let's say you need a goal, but we don't want to let your distance from the goal crush you. So you got to set up a goal, and then you got to make the goal, break the goal down into parts so that you can move towards it and you have a fairly high likelihood of doing it. So that's a bit of practical, I wouldn't say advice, it's because it's better than advice. It's some practical knowledge about how to go about achieving an aim. Set a high aim, but differentiate it down so you know what the next step is, and then make the next step difficult enough so you have to push yourself past where you are, but also provide yourself with a reasonable probability of success. It's also what you do with children, right? You want to push them because they need to grow up and be more than they are, right? But you don't want to crush them with constant failure. So what you do is aim high and make the goal difficult but proximal. One of the things I've thought about a fair bit is the meaning of the Sermon on the Mount. And as far as I can tell, it's basically two-part wisdom. The first is that you should aim at the highest good that you can imagine. And that would be a good that includes everyone, right? So if I wanted what was good for you, say, if I genuinely wanted it, I want it in a way that was good for you now and good in the long run, good for you and your family and your community, and maybe good for me too. You know, you could conceive of that as the desire. And I think that's a good definition of love, is that you actually want the best possible outcome. And in the Gospels, of course, that's extended even to your enemies.
Yes.
Right? Is that, okay, if we're going to have things good, let's have it good enough for even the people that set themselves up against me. Because if the world was running properly, things would be good for them too. And that would be better. And it seems to me that that's a very good way of looking at things. It's a difficult way of looking at things. And then the second part of the Sermon on the Mount is something like, having established that as your aim, which is no easy thing, by the way, right? Because you have to be pretty clear-headed and single-minded to actually want that to be your aim. Then you can concentrate on the day and you can try telling the truth. And you can ally, so there's truth and love that are allied together. Truth, love, and attention, it's something like that are all allied together. With regards to transgressing against the vulnerable,
the noise in your family. I know you don't have no noise in your family. Pray for me. But sometimes my family get noisy. You know, you always got something going on. You got the noise in your family. You got the noise in your finances. You got the noise on your job. I don't care what you do. There's always somebody that you work with that don't like you. You got the noise of your job, the pressure of deadlines, the dates to meet, the this to do, the that to do, the bills to be paid, the taxes to come. Have you had your teeth cleaned? When was the last time you've been to the podiatrist? You haven't had anybody do anything with your scalp or your skin or your this, and you're standing in the middle of so much noise. You live in it, you drive in it, you walk in it, you get in your car and you get in the traffic, they're honking and blowing and pushing and shoving. You turn on your phone and there's somebody you don't even know on Instagram laying you out about something you don't even understand about, and you have to live in the noise. It isn't just the decibel of the noise itself, how loud, how boisterous it is. It also goes far beyond that. It is the constant living under the threat that takes away our peace. Peace has become valuable. When I was young, I wanted joy. We danced all night long. They put us in the car. We were still dancing and shouting up on y'all don't know nothing about that, but in the old Holy Ghost sanctified church, we go to and we shout, and then we just had joy. But as I got older, I appreciate joy, but Lord, can I have a little peace? Oh, if you give me a little peace, I don't have to dance all night. Now I just want to be able to sleep all night. Oh, y'all not gonna talk to me. We've lost the sense of peace, the sense of contentment, the sense of well-being, the feeling of safety. Looking over your shoulder in the grocery store. Can't go to a theater without watching everybody. In the airport, looking for a strange bag dropped at a strange place. You're scared of everybody. Living constantly under the threats of not knowing what's going to happen next.
It will do certain things to you that will put you down and keep you down if you let it. It doesn't give you any strength. It gives you more weakness than power. When you surround yourself with people that are negative, when you surround yourself with different things that are not helping you to grow strong, but instead put you in a position where you're at a weak state and you don't feel that you can come back from it, that's exactly what negativity does. You cannot get anywhere in life when you're having negative things around you. If you are in a negative environment, these things will hinder you from success. You have got to understand what negativity truly ultimately does. Eventually, it will put you in a position where you are feeling hopeless. You feel that you got to depend on someone to be happy, but you don't. You feel like you got to hang around a bunch of people to feel important, but you don't. You got to understand when you're hanging around things that is not helping you to move up, it's only going to put you in a position where you're going to stay down. And this is not a place that you want to be. Do not let negative tell you what to do. Don't let negativity put you in a position that you feel that there's nothing going to come out of you. You have every opportunity right in front of you. Just take a moment of clarity within yourself and realize that you do matter. Understand that there's purpose within you, ladies and gentlemen. Understand that you do matter for a reason because you exist for a reason. Now, if you let negative or negativity control you, control your thoughts, control your actions, then what's left? You got to get past this thing about wondering who, what, when, and where, and how you're going to go to the next level. The only way you're going to move up is you got to move up with the right mindset and understanding that you have all the power and uniqueness within you to get to the level you want to be in your life. But you can't allow things that are holding you back to take control of your life.
You can get discouraged a lot of ways, but the one surefire way to avoid discouragement, first of all, let's understand something. We're all participating in this thing called life. All of us. Life has ebb and flows. Mountaintops, it's got valleys, it's got thunderstorms in it, earthquakes. This life, you stop expecting it to go smooth, because it ain't finna go smooth. The road to success is always under construction. This life ain't set up to be smooth. You combat negativity and you combat discouragement with gratitude. It's the one way to combat discouragement is with gratitude. What messes you up is you focus on the thing that's not happening, and that causes you to get discouraged. So whenever you get discouraged, you have to change your focus from what's not happening to what has happened. And it straightens you out immediately. Because what causes the downslide is if you get wrapped up into what ain't happening, it get ugly, man. And it just snowballs. But you have to focus on gratitude. People understand how serious gratitude is. You know, it's a serious principle of success. It's hard to be miserable and grateful at the same time. You know, I learned this at my mother's funeral, man, which was like the roughest. That week of my life was like chaotic, man. I thought I was gonna die. My mama passed. I was 40. I didn't do good, man. I thought I was crumbling. I really, man, I didn't know what that was, man. The most important person to me was gone. I was crushed. I thought I was gonna die. And at the funeral, my mother was a Sunday school teacher for 40 years. And I'm devastated. My mother's in a casket. That's just not the picture I ever wanted to see, right? And I was struggling with her being up there. And the preacher stood up and he said, I know y'all hurting. I got 2 brothers and 2 sisters. He said, but I want y'all to look around at this church. My mama had been a Sunday school teacher for 40 years. Church was packed. It was packed. He said, the overflow room is full. He said, we've put up projector screens in the parking lot. We don't do that on Easter. We done set up projector screens in the parking lot because so many people then came to see your mother off. Said, because your mother meant something to everybody. My mama's funeral was filled with the hood, the gangsters, pimps, the hustlers, the dope boys, the police, the politicians, church people. He started talking about, he said, look how full this church is. Look at the lives she touched. Look what she meant to so many people. We got people in this church we ain't seen in years. He said, look at this. And I want you to think of all the incredible things your mother has ever done. And then he started listing the things she had done around the church and what people had said about her. And we started smiling. And this was the first time I had smiled in a week. That week was ugly for me. And he said, now listen to this. You see the smiles on your face? He said, joy and depression cannot reside in the same space. So when you get down and you start thinking about how dark it is, I want you to remember everything your mother taught you that was good. And that replaced all the negative thoughts I was having. Because joy and depression cannot reside in the same space. Well, now, you got to take that concept and apply it to your life. If joy and depression cannot reside in the same place, when you get depressed and you get discouraged, you got to replace it with joy. And what more joyous than gratitude? What has God done for you? Didn't you wake up today? Ain't you still breathing? Don't you have some measure of health? Ain't you working? You may not have the car you want, but don't you have a car? Ain't you eating groceries today? You ain't homeless. Now, when you start tripping and you get depressed, you got to go into yourself and come up with some gratitude. Once you get grateful, went downstairs and started doing my meditation. I pull out a list of everything I'm grateful for. By the time I got to the 13th thing, I thank God for 75 things every morning. By the time I got to 13, I was fine. Because guess what? I'm alive, I'm breathing, I'm healthy. I'm finna go do a job. I tell jokes. They finna pay me.